Danielle, you don't do these crazy full body workouts. You have to allow each muscle to recover. She's like, so we do shoulders one day, we do back one day, we do legs one day. I'm like, she's like, so you can work it every day, but you're not like killing your body. She's like, this allows for the inflammation to go down. This allows you to grow and recover. She's like, recovery is a huge process in growing. And I was like, oh my God. So I had been doing all these crazy like HIIT workouts up until I met my trainer. And she's like, you're overtraining and you're not eating enough. And I was like, yeah, I always feel like shitty. She's like, yeah, you're overtraining and not eating enough. Your body's not recovering. I'm like, okay.
All right, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to the Date Your Wife podcast. And I'm here with my wife, who's got some fancy chains with her mask around her neck. It looks like a necklace with a mask. It's like a bra.
I don't have my mask on.
It's like a bra thing, but you had it on. I'm looking at it right now.
No.
It looks like a bra pouch that holds a boob.
For a second, I was like, did I put a bra on?
Do you wear bras? You do. You do wear bras.
No, I always lose mine. There was this cute boutique I went to. And
You're not talking into your microphone.
I was like, you know what? I'm just going to...
You're going to do this?
I'm just going to do it.
You're just going to... Okay, so here's the deal. We're going to get... we're getting fancy masks. I don't know how I feel about it. Our nephews are all here at the house.
We're
Our nieces are all at the
masks.
house.
I'm like, what the hell are we still doing this for?
I just don't wear mine. And then I send people in to go do things for me because I just don't want to wear it. People think I'm an asshole for this. Your dad doesn't think I'm an asshole for this. Your dad is 70 years old and hates wearing his mask. He tells everyone it's stupid.
You know what is weird? Is
What?
when there's people, like we live in Dana Point. It's beautiful. The weather's great. There's great running trails. I like lose my mind when I see somebody running with a mask on. I'm like, you're a dumbass. Like, that's the only thing that comes to my mind when I see them running. I'm like, you're like, that can't be healthy. Like,
It's stupid.
I don't get it.
Let me ride my bike and wear a mask.
Or like in my car,
And wear a mask.
I'm like, well, COVID's very smart. It gets in right in through the air vents, and when you're running past people, it's gonna get you. So, but I'm like, these look like healthy people.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? You can look healthy and not be healthy. That's a great topic for today. You can look healthy and not be healthy.
You know what I was thinking is like people. That is a good topic. Because I was thinking how people will like judge you for one thing, but everybody has their vice, right?
Everybody has their vice.
Literally, like.
I've been a judgy asshole about vices.
Everybody's a judgy asshole at one point or another. So,
what vice do I have that you're a judgy asshole about?
What vice do you have?
Yeah, what do I do that has you be a little judgy?
I don't know.
It doesn't seem like that happens anymore.
I would say
you kind of got into my husband is amazing.
I'm gonna bring I'll throw myself under the bus.
All right, go for it.
Got really into fitness this last year. And I...
Can we talk about how much you've grown your ass? Because it's incredible.
Garrett,
all right, continue.
Stay on topic.
Well, you said I grew fitness, and all I was thinking about was last night lingerie.
I realize it's like you trade one thing for another. But what I was thinking is, let's just think about coffee. Like I was drinking coffee, and then weirdly, I only took up coffee when I was pregnant because I gave up energy drinks, but then I drank coffee. But then when I was going through my fitness thing, I'm like, I'm not going to drink coffee. I'm going to drink PreWorkout. And the other day, my PreWorkout spilled on not the other day, like a month ago, it spilled on my stairs. Like we got this brand new house, like marble, beautiful floors everywhere. And I spill my PreWorkout and I'm like, oh, whatever. I go to grab a towel, I go to wipe it up. And I'm like,
I wiped it up.
I don't remember.
You left it there for like 20 minutes.
But you thought it was dog pee because you're like, it's ruining the tiles. And I come over, I'm like, oh my gosh, that like stripped the finish on the marble. And that's what I was thinking. I was like, what is that doing to my stomach lining? I was like, oh my God. Like, so then I was like, the other day I was like, I'm going back to coffee. I'm like, I was like literally like,
so did you really? Because I just saw a new PreWorkout show up at the house.
Well, I ordered that before I thought about it. But
so
no,
here's the thing. Look what you're talking about, though. Like, is coffee bad? Is energy drinks bad? Is pre-work bad? You just swap things.
Right. But here's what's so funny is my mom is the one that's like, that noticed it and was like, I wonder what that's doing to your stomach lining. She's like, unfortunately, because she goes, you can get a marble guy to come in and like refinish that. And he's like, she's like, unfortunately, I don't think they could do that to your stomach lining. Ha ha ha. And I'm like thinking like, Mom, you drink like 4 gallons of Diet Coke every day.
I know.
And so I'm like, come on. And so that's what I was thinking. I'm like, people are so funny that they'll judge you for one thing, but then they like eat like shit, or they drink 4 gallons of Diet Coke, or they don't work out, or then you're like, well, are you judging me right now?
Well, listen, I come from a family of Mormons, right? So we were both raised in Mormonism, and the coffee is not a thing.
Oh, and you know what drives me nuts?
Okay, go for it.
And it's really popular in Orange County too, is pills. prescription pills. Like,
Yeah, we don't do that.
I've never done any kind of prescription pills, nor do I care. But it's so funny because people are like, "Oh, you drink," and I'm like, "Wait, you're on like 6 different prescriptions."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I drink.
You should have a glass of wine
You
instead.
should probably just drink because I'm not sure if what you do is any different than what I do. So,
This happens across the board. I mean, listen, my dad will tell you to this day, he has never had a drop of alcohol.
but he's been 50 pounds overweight consistently throughout his life.
But here's the thing he will do, is that he will, I remember this when we were kids. My dad would carve out the inside of these mega mugs. They were like 80 ounces of liquid. And then he would go to the Flying J gas station and he would fill these up like 2-3 times a day. So he would drink like 200 ounces of Diet Coke, but had never put his mouth on a bottle of beer in his life. And I sit there and I look at that and I was like, I'm super judgy about the weight thing. I've really struggled with judging people who are not fit. Like it's a natural thing for me to be judgmental about that. And I think it's my own paranoia about being overweight and having a body that doesn't work because I'm so committed to what I do with my body. I'm pretty judgy about it.
Have you ever had a problem with your weight? Be honest.
Yeah, I did. Right when we first got married, I stopped working out. I drank ice cream ate ice cream every night, and I got fat.
You did not.
Well,
I
got fat for me. I got soft. I didn't get fat. I got soft for me.
Like you were like maybe 10 pounds overweight. You were
So
soft.
I don't know what it's like to be overweight.
Exactly.
Right.
That's
So,
why
but here's a breakthrough. Right. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking. I remember I'm like, you eat 7 cookies. Right. This happens easy. I watch people around
I
me.
get food hangovers all the time.
Yeah, but they'll eat 7 cookies, and I'm like, oh, look at you. You're fat because you eat 7 cookies. You're so bad. Right. This is my mind's doing this, and then I'm thinking, well, you just had 3 IPAs, maybe 4. What the fuck's the difference?
Yeah, everybody sedates somehow.
I'm like, everybody has your. They all have their thing.
Okay, but here's where I have a problem with it.
Okay.
So if you drink, well, maybe, I mean, I guess we don't see what's going on in your intestines, but I'm like thinking like somebody who has like shitty food every day, it doesn't just affect like how you feel. Like I eat crappy and I'm like, I have a legit, because I eat so clean most of the time, I have like a food hangover.
Yeah,
like
it's
I'm
bad.
puffy, I feel sick. I'm like, I would have rather have had a glass of wine or a cocktail or whatever it is. I'm like, I feel more shitty with the crappy food that I just put in my body. And what's crazy to me is I'm like, you can say like, oh, you had 3 IPAs and this person had 7 cookies, but I'm like, I look at the fact of like, if you're overweight and your body doesn't move and your joints don't move and this kind of thing, like that daily weight on your body has to be super unhealthy, right? So not only are you feeding your body with shit, but you don't notice like how the slow
Subtle
takeover that the weight is doing in your body. I don't know how else to
Listen,
describe
the
that.
principle we were talking about here was you can look healthy and not be healthy, right? So we have an assumption that because I don't drink coffee, because I don't drink alcohol, I buy thus far I am healthy. Or I can take my organic friends who love to eat raw and vegan, and yet they're overweight. And I'm like, okay, well, wait a second. You're doing all this stuff, but you're like eating 10 times more than you should be eating because it's raw or because it's organic. So like this doesn't need to be a fitness show. There's just a simple example with the body side, which is there is an appearance that things look, wow, there was a fit guy that got COVID that was 49 years old down the road from us in Orange County, and he passed away from COVID. Super buff, right? Super fit guy. So, and I was talking to my doctor, one of my doctor clients, Dr. Fedor, who runs the ICU.
Well, people can
for
even with
35
fitness, like
hospitals.
they can overtrain.
Well, that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
He said that the reason why COVID has been such an issue for the United States is because of the inflammation issues the U.S. faces that almost every other nation does not at the level we face it.
Yeah.
He's all because of obesity at one end. He's like, but there's another end too, which is an increase of stress and overtraining. He's like, you could take somebody's like, we can take a body of somebody sitting in the ICU that has COVID who's obese and they look a certain way because of inflammation, right? COVID is an accelerator and inflammatory. It inflames the lungs. It inflames the internal organs. And when this thing's all inflamed, it basically crushes your lungs. You have nowhere to go, right? Your internal cavity just collapses on itself. Well, this can happen when you're super lean too. So you have the appearance that you're doing well, right? You look like you are, but you're actually not healthy.
I went through I think
I know where the
phase.
fuck I'm going to take this show. I just got my pathway, so keep going.
I went through a phase with one of my babies. It was I think it was Ruby, where I was like overtraining and I was always sick. I was like, what the hell?
Me too.
And you know what's so funny? Yeah, I remember when you were doing ultra marathons, like
that, and when I was doing insane levels at 2 times a day CrossFit.
Yeah, you can't do that. And what's so funny is even in my whole fitness journey this last year, like my trainer Val, she taught me, she's like, Danielle, you don't do these crazy full body workouts, you have to allow each muscle to recover. She's like, so we do shoulders one day, we do back one day, we do legs one day. I'm like, she's like, so you can work it every day, but you're not like killing your body. She's like, this allows for the inflammation to go down. This allows you to grow and recover. She's like, recovery is a huge process in growing. And I was like, oh my God. So I had been doing all these crazy like HIIT workouts up until I met my trainer. And she's like, you're overtraining and you're not eating enough. And I was like, yeah, I always feel like shitty. She's like, yeah, you're overtraining and not eating enough. Your body's not recovering. I'm like, okay. So like I learned a lot even like through my whole process.
Oh, we're for sure not sounding like we're in our 20s with this show.
We're not.
What we've got to do is we've got to give ourselves recovery and take some sleep and really take care of ourselves and stretch and touch your toes.
When I overtrained, I was in my 20s, so...
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Everybody overtrains in their 20s. It gets into fitness. And people just overtrain to get into fitness, and they get super pumped, and they think, well, if I go more and I feel... when I was doing CrossFit, I was just fucking beat up all the damn time. Yeah. Now I surf, I stretch, I swim, I walk. This is what I do. And then I picked up golf. I mean, if I went to the optometrist, and I'm now getting glasses. I'm going to have glasses on my face.
And your beard game is strong.
My beard game is...
I hate the beard.
No, it's not going away. The beard is coming. No, me and Seth had a talk.
I hate the beard.
Seth is a Viking.
Seth is fired.
Seth has a kilt.
Does Seth have sex with you?
Seth does not have sex with me.
Dang it.
But Seth has committed to me and said...
Seth.
He has said that this beard, if we can go with he's like, you're going to get a better profile.
Let's have a running bet.
You're going to get a better
running. Shave it in 10 days.
No, I'm not shaving it in 10 days. I thought the only way you're going to do that, it's such an unfair advantage. That's because you're like, oh, cut you off sexually. And if you want it, or you'll come out and try to tease me with a nipple and say, shave it off. Or you'll get a dumb idea while you're drinking tequila that we should dye my hair.
I will not.
And my eyebrows.
I don't use sex as
You
power.
will never dye my eyebrows again. That was the worst idea I've ever had. Remember when you dyed my beard and my eyebrows and you were drinking? That was the worst night. It was like having your daughter paint makeup on your face.
That was funny.
It was, except for I looked like an idiot.
Until you woke up the next morning.
And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Don't paint beards and drink at the same time.
All right, so we're coming back to our point here. You can look healthy, but you're not healthy. So the glasses, right? You look at me, you're like, oh, this guy's eyes look fine. No, they're not fine. They're not fine. They've slowly had some problems. So I can ignore what's going on or I can deal with it. Well, I've chosen to ignore it for about a year and a half. I was like, I'm going to ignore it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I even went and got reading glasses like 3 months ago.
Glasses.
You would make fun of me about the glasses.
Why are you saying it like that?
I don't know. I like to say glasses.
Glasses.
I like to say the glasses. Huh. So I would wear the reading glasses last year and you would make fun of me.
Because they weren't real glasses.
Calling me four eyes.
I can't stand it when people wear glasses just to look cool. I'm like, if those don't have a function, you look dumb.
All right, I was wearing them to be cool at first. But
you start wearing them on date and you're like, does this turn you on? I'm like, it doesn't.
Does it slightly turn you on?
No,
when I wear glasses.
If they were real
what if
glasses,
I have to have real glasses?
Function, I think it's weird to wear glasses if they don't have a function.
Well, they are going to have a function because I literally can't see half the shit in the test. She told me I have astigmatism. My eyes are almonds. They're not actually golf balls.
You know what? Your eyes lately, I think it's from the computer screen. They look a little bit glossy.
Glossy. They're glossy. That's why I have to get glasses.
No, like I remember one time you came home from work. I'm like,
I thought I was high.
I'm all, are you high? And you're like, no, this is what my eyes do after being in front of a computer screen all day.
Ah, it's fucking horrible.
I think I might need glasses too. I'll find myself like going to read something and I'm like holding it like far away and I'm like, oh no.
Well, the doctor today told me that that in your 40s this starts to happen. I'm actually later in life. That it's happening. No, I know, but she said there's a rising generation of women addicted to Instagram who are also having to get glasses when they're younger.
She didn't say people addicted to Instagram need glasses later in life.
You can get this girl some glasses so she can look at her Instagram. All right, so...
I need glasses so I can shave your beard correctly.
Is that what we're calling it now? Shave your beard correctly? I know where you're going with this. Anyway. All right, so we're going to go back to this. So look healthy, but not healthy, right? So let's get off the alcohol and all the pills and all the other shit we're talking about. Let's talk about the appearance of health in marriage and an actually healthy marriage, because we got blamed for some shit with the girl who washes your face girl. Who's the girl that washes? Yeah.
I don't know. I read half her book.
But what's her name? The girl that washes her face but doesn't.
I don't know her name. She doesn't wash her face.
Look it up. She doesn't wash her face.
Wash your face, girl. I don't know.
Wash your face. I'm looking it up right now. So I'll tell you why I'm bringing this up. Not because I'm going to throw her under the bus. Her and her husband got divorced. Good for them. Right? Don't care. If you want to get divorced,
wash your face.
Girl, wash your face. What is her name? Her name is Rachel Hollis. Okay. Now, Rachel Hollis lives in Southern California, I believe. I don't know. I've never met this woman. I have nothing against her, and she sold a shitload of books, so good for her. her and her husband were married, and her and her husband, I guess, did some posting. They post on Facebook a lot, and they run events together, right? So I had somebody come to my event and to Warrior here a couple months back that asked me the question, are you a real deal or are you just another Rachel Hollis? And I was like, well, A, I don't know who Rachel Hollis is. And he's like, the girl who washed your face. I was like, B, I've heard of that book, but I've never read it. My wife listened to it, was bored of it in 2 minutes and put it down. Again, not an indicator of whether or not it's good because, like, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people buy this book. It's the number one New York Times bestseller. So her and her husband post a picture, and they train in their networks. They post a picture of them as a couple. Oh, my God, my best friend, blah, 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 super candid, perfect lighting, blah, 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 blah.
I don't know the story.
I don't either, and I didn't see the photo. This guy's just relaying this to me that's coming in a Warrior. So he says, how do I trust that what you talk about in marriage is actually what's going on, or you're just going to be another Rachel Hollis that makes pretend that things are working and then get divorced?
I feel like we're pretty transparent on our podcast.
I believe we are too, but I'm saying that's why I was kind of blown away. I was like, bro, have you not fucking watched anything that we do? Like, we're very open, and I'm very open as a trainer about my life and what's going on.
So I don't know if this is even possible, but like, do you think that they're like when people are like, oh, they're happy, and then all of a sudden they got divorced, and you're like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Do you
They
think
knew it was coming.
Well, no, I'm wondering, like, do they have moments of happiness, and it's not like it was ingenuine, like they had moments of happiness, and then they had a lot of hard times, and then all of a sudden it's just like we're done, and people only saw the happy moments, and they didn't see the other moments, because I think that there's
key word here. People only saw the happy moments.
I think I'm thinking of the phrase, like, don't air your dirty laundry. Like, we're very transparent, but we don't need to tell everybody everything, right? Like, there's certain things I'm like, no, that's for me and you to talk about. Like, we don't need to air this to the world.
But we air 99% more than 99% of the couples.
We do, but I'm just saying, like, it's not to say maybe the relationship wasn't good, but maybe they didn't want to share the bads.
They didn't want to share the bads. Well, that's pretty much the storyline of everybody. Doesn't want to share the bads, just want to share the goods.
But then I'm just saying, my point is, like, people just assume, like, oh, they're fake. And you're like, well, maybe they're not fake.
But you didn't hear the rest of the story. Okay. So she posts a picture of her husband, my best friend, blah, 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 blah. In less than 2 weeks, posts another picture and says, we're asking for your prayers and your support at this hard time as me and my husband have decided to get divorced. And they just came to me. It's this principle of, like, why are you being plastic to the public if there's shit going on?
Okay, let me ask you this then.
Because, like, everybody has shit going on, but I get tired of watching couples pretend they're healthy when they're not fucking healthy. I get tired of plastic people in Orange County and around the world being, hey, our marriage is so good. And then I'm talking to the guys, like, after the fact, or I'm at a cocktail party, or I'm sitting in a social event, and I deal with 50,000 plus men on this topic, by the way, so I've dealt with 50,000 plus marriages. I get it. Most people in marriage are not happy.
Really?
Yeah. At least the people that come to Warrior. Makes sense because they come to Warrior because they're not happy. If they were happy, they'd probably go somewhere else. They'd probably read Girl Wash Your Face. It's probably what they do. Because they're happy. Until she gets divorced and is pulling the flippy-floppy, and then they're not happy, and then they end up at Warrior. That's how it all happened.
I feel like your message, though, with Warrior, yeah, it does, because we went through so much hard times, and kind of like, I feel like we're pretty solid now, but I think people, they're like, oh, Garrett, like, they relate to your story, so they're hoping to, like, turn things around maybe.
Well, I mean, the piece I'm getting at here is this. You can make pretend you have a healthy marriage, but until you get with the reality that your marriage is not healthy and you work on what's not healthy, nothing is going to change. So there's this idea that somehow I can keep being the plastic happy clappy picture on Facebook, Instagram, social media. We're so happy. We're so happy. I do everything I possibly can to offset the perfection on your Instagram page. Because people see how beautiful you are, and they see the pretty picture of us, and I said, let me tell you what happened before the hot air balloon photo shoot.
You know what, though? Here's the thing, because I've been told, like, oh, my God, your Instagram is, like, it's
a museum.
It's almost, like, too perfect. And I'm like,
it's beautiful.
But you know what? I'm like, I really have that dress. I really have that house. I really have that car. That's really my life. And so part of me is, I'm like, I will not apologize for that person.
Never should apologize.
And I'm like, and I like photography, and I like these photos, and I like a pretty feed, and this is very much me. But then I can come on a podcast. I can wear a ball cap. I can be real. I can be mean. This is also me too.
Well done.
But people they think, like, if I can't be real, they can't associate to somebody that has nice things. But I also worked really hard to get to where I'm at.
Yes. Well, and the key here is that you are offsetting it because of how you show up. In other words, which means you're showing the full range. Hey, listen, I'm regal and stunning over here. And also I like to wear, the make your booty look nice tight pants with the hat and coming to the podcast.
You like those
What?
pants
Those
this
are
morning.
amazing. Holy
Those
shit! I
are
could barely
Amazon.
focus.
Those are Amazon.
I'm sitting there trying to help our baby get breakfast, and you walked by and I almost like stabbed her in the eye with her own plastic fork. I was like, "What is this?" Jeez.
I got 3 compliments running today.
Of course
by
you
women,
did.
not men, because men.
Wait, because no one
seem
got
creeper.
you had 375 men who had to like adjust themselves when you
No,
ran past.
They're hot pants, but
Of course they're hot pants. I think they almost should be illegal to wear in public. They're so hot. It's almost like running around with like a thong on.
They were just red, cute
But
pants.
they're just incredible. It's like I took a red paint and just painted your body.
Well,
They look
I work hard
fantastic.
for my body, so I'm going to wear the
I
red
work
pants.
hard for my body.
Where are we going with this?
I already told you, we're here in the
forgot
game of getting real about what is in your marriage. So you can sit in a place and pretend like things are healthy, or you can deal with them. Now, we had our plastic times. Nobody had any clue things were going sideways for us. We were in a plastic pocket.
No. Here's what I was going to say. I don't think we thought things were bad. I think that I remember feeling like I wasn't very good at communication. I got married young at 20. And I remember thinking like I didn't like you, but I didn't know not like you, but there was no spark or chemistry like for a while. And
About 8 years.
But we didn't fight, and we didn't fight a lot. I don't know if you remember this, but we were just like, you'd work a lot, and then like I got pregnant with our first baby, and then our second one, I was like, I don't know, like there was like little things you would do. You'd come by and like smack me on the butt, and I'd almost like kind of like, ugh, like I was just, but I never like, I just thought that was marriage. Like literally, I was like, well, we're married now. It's just how it is. Like, sex.
You look like you almost vomit on your microphone going back to that place.
I literally didn't know any different. I was like,
You're
well,
like,
I guess
this is shitty.
Well, I just was like, I guess this is how marriage is. I don't really know. And then it really hit me when I'm pregnant with my second baby, and you come to me and you're like, hey, I'm basically dating another woman. I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, okay, well, and it did. It caught me off guard. I was like, holy shit. But then I'm like, come on, Danielle. Like you weren't happy. Like you didn't have these conversations. There was no spark or chemistry. So you're not being accountable for the fact like I was just kind of settling in. Like I didn't do anything wrong, but I didn't do anything right by not communicating. You know what I mean? So
I do go.
So I literally got in this place where I was like, everybody wants to point fingers at Garrett. They're like, oh, he's the asshole. He cheated. Even you're like, I'm the asshole. I cheated. I'm like, yeah, but to be honest, I wasn't like attracted to you and didn't have the same spark, but I just was like, oh, this is how marriage is. Like, it's fine. It is what it is. But then why would I be confused when you wanted spark and created that with somebody else? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, that's very,
I was
that's
young.
a very accountable way to come at it.
But that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, how was I shocked? Like, I didn't like you. Not like you, but.
No, you didn't like me.
I wasn't attracted to you.
No, you were not. You were
like
disgusted
I was when
by
we
me.
got married, but there was this phase where like literally
that ended about a year after we got married.
I don't know, but I just
It did.
remember thinking, no, it was a slow.
Are you kidding me? Do you remember the photo from Bear Lake with us sitting on the boat? Oh my God. We've got to find this picture and show them. I look like I am straight fucking NASCAR.
Oh my God. My sister sends me this photo, and we look like we took a hard turn after we got married. Like we were cute and on fire, and all of a sudden it's like we got married. And like
we turned into Mormon fatty couple.
I'm pretty sure Garrett was like, if he had a Keystone and we drank, that's what he would be holding.
But that's the worst part. I wasn't even drinking.
You weren't
at the
even
time.
drinking, and both of us just like
just look like pasty white,
well,
soft.
Here we are. Like we look like we settled in hard,
and we were in our 20s.
Yeah, like literally, people see that and they're like, you guys are reverse aging, and I'm like,
this happens in Mormon culture, though.
It happens in all cultures.
I don't know about all. I can speak to Mormon culture for sure.
You know what's so funny? I think because like I value growth so much, and I feel like we've really accomplished a lot in our personal lives and our business and everything else. Now, when I see people that I haven't seen in 10 years and they still look the same, but maybe like a little bigger, or whatever it is, but like their hair almost like got worse and like they didn't maintain well, and I'm like, but I don't even think they see it.
They do not. Oh, do you think I thought I looked like NASCAR guy in the boat that day? I thought I was hot as shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I look back at that picture of us in our early 20s. I'm like, whoa, we didn't know. We just settled in. We're like, this is marriage.
Yeah.
Buckle up, Buttercup. We're doing this.
Buckle up, Buttercup. That's what I looked like. I looked like my nickname was Buttercup.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Oh, so we were not. I mean, I think you bring up an interesting point too, which is the idea that you could think you're healthy, but you're not healthy. Like if all you're surrounded by is people who operate a certain way in marriage, and all those people operate a certain way, you may think, hey, I'm healthy. And then you get into a situation which happened with us in 2008. We went to an event called My Life Book in Chicago. You remember this? Went to My Life Book.
Yeah.
It was that building you go in and you create your characteristics of life.
That was me just trying to try.
Of course it was you trying to try. You were not even like, this was prior to
Now,
the...
if you told me about like an event like that, and then we get his like getaway and the kids are with the
So
nanny, I'd be
stoked.
like, woo, woo.
Back then, not so stoked.
Then I was like, really? I actually skipped half the event and
You
went
did.
shopping in Chicago, which I still would do, but it was fun.
Well, we were at this event, though, and I remember sitting there, and they're talking, the John Butcher, who owns My Life Book, and Precious Moments, the little statue things that my mom had that we always broke when they were a kid, and she would, like, lose her mind. He launched this program called My Life Book, and we're sitting out there, and he's talking about his sex life, and he's talking about his marriage, and he's talking about his body, and he's talking about these 12 categories of life, and how he's done all these amazing things. And I remember the whole time sitting there and going, this guy's full of shit. This is what I'm thinking in my mind. This guy's full of shit. Realizing that I'm full of shit. Which is, I want that, but I know no one who has what he's talking about.
I think, too, like, you have to allow yourself permission to do the work to get to that place, right? Like,
I mean, that was 2008.
like
It's now 2011 or 2021,
if you
right?
settle in real hard with where you're at, and somebody's like, hey, I have a pretty good marriage, I have a good life, I have a good family, you're like, you're full of shit, because you're probably not giving yourself permission to have that kind of success in your life. And you're like, no, nobody experiences that, so you must be full of shit. But if you actually gave yourself permission, it might be a whole nother story. If you gave yourself permission to not just settle into what is, like, anything is possible.
That is probably the point that we'll close up on this one with, this podcast. I mean, we'll end our final conversation, not in the next minute, like the next 5 minutes. If you step into and just assume that your relationship is unhealthy, compared to, are you ready? Not compared to your parents, not compared to people at the church, not compared to your siblings, not compared to people you used to hang out with and people you used to go, your Thursday night drinking party with.
People always say, well, it's not as bad as them, so it must be okay.
You compared it against who, Danielle?
Yourself.
When?
Right now.
Against which version of yourself?
Who you could become.
Wow, you're so hot. Red pants and your words. Your lips look nice. Did you get them plumped?
I didn't. I put some lip gloss on, but thank you.
I want to kiss them.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I'd like to kiss you too, but there's a beard in the way.
Oh, God, stop it. Okay, so we have this comparison then. So Danielle and I got to this place as individuals, and we got to this place as a couple where I would say our marriage right now is the hottest it's ever been. Like, God, you're so hot, dude.
Stop thinking about the red
I
pants.
can't help it. I look at you, and all of a sudden I want to end the show. Anyways,
I
feel that tension.
You know what? I will say this. I feel very powerful. I feel like
You are very powerful.
I'm like, okay, I got this. I'm like, I got this.
I not only sent you a gratitude stack this morning, I then had to send you like 3 more messages today because of the red pants. As if last night wasn't enough inspiration, then it continued this morning with the red pants.
I'm very strategic.
It was good. It was a great stratagem. So here's a piece, though. If I'm comparing myself against who I can become, then that means even as hot and on fire as we are right now as individuals and as a couple, the version of us 10 years from now will look at us right now and go, you had no idea.
Yeah, but that's how it is in life.
Isn't that crazy?
But that's what's so crazy in life. Like, you look at where we are at in like business or anything, and you're like, oh my God, like it's been a journey, but I can't imagine it any other way.
Yeah.
And I think, and I even noticed this last week, I've been teaching a ton, and it's so funny because even my artists, they get so overwhelmed with like, hey, I want to be right where Danielle and Garrett are right now. They don't start with the problems that are in front of them, like right who they are right in
They're
that,
like,
in
hey,
that
I
moment.
joined DKW Academy last week.
Yeah.
When do I get the Lambo and the Maserati? You're like,
right.
you don't.
Or
not for a bit.
But not even that. They're like trying to solve for problems that aren't even problems. Like, they're like, hey, I'm gonna buy a salon, and I'm like, you don't even have your books aren't even full. Probably don't buy a salon. But that's what I think people probably do. They like think too far in the future, and they're like, oh, that's not achievable. And they're really thinking about the work and the steps in between to get there. So they're like, oh, well, those guys are asshole and they're fake. And it's like, no, you just have to be willing to put in the work. But my point in saying this is the work is not that hard. You just have to do it every day. And then when you look back at the person you were, you're like, I wouldn't have it any other way. So if you're listening to this message and you're like, okay, there's some things I can adjust inside my relationship, then do it. Like, you have nothing to lose. You can stay with where you're at, or you can try to get to the next level in your relationship and see what it does for you. And I always say this, I'm like, in becoming the better version of you and becoming the better, even if it's in the relationship, you have no idea how many people you're going to affect. It was so funny. We started going back to church, and our pastor
I love our
sent us
church.
a 10-minute prayer via audio.
Hey,
and
how
I was
cool?
like,
How
I'm
cool?
like, I've never.
How's that?
I was like, I've never had a prayer
Did
during
you feel
audio.
emotional listening to it?
I felt.
Did you feel a little bit
when
on fire?
people used to say, "I'm praying for you," I'd be like, "Screw you, pray for yourself." Like, I don't need you to pray for me. Thank you.
You
But
don't need to save me.
you don't need to save me.
Back in the day.
But now, like, I now when people are like, let's pray for you, I feel like their intention is so good, and that's what I focus on.
Pastor Mark is just incredible.
But yeah, no, the reason I was bringing that up is like in his prayer, he was like, you and Garrett as a unit together will do so much for your family and this and this and this. And I was like, and I'm like, I believe that. So even in strengthening your relationships, you don't realize the effect that you have on other people's relationships or even your kids or everybody around you. And so I always think of it as like growing is not just about you. Yes, it's so very fulfilling and rewarding for you. However, you impact and are an example to so many other people by becoming a better person.
Well, you look at take something simple as far as like church, right? So we have. It's like we started going to Ocean Church like 3 months ago here in Orange County. If you're in Orange County, check it out, or on live stream, you can check it out on Sundays. We'll go back and watch the replays. Pastor Mark and Pastor Rochelle are like incredible people, and the community is just insane. And there's a ton of warrior people that go there. And we were. If you had told me a year ago that you would be sitting under a tent with me, with your hands up in the air, doing some praise, and telling me you feel the power of God in you. If you told me that was the case, if you told me my daughter, who is 14, would be asking, now given her boyfriend is in the youth group, so I understand, but she's coming back and talking to me about her youth pastor who's praying over her, and she's feeling all this warmth inside, and she's like getting emotional talking with me about. If you told me my son is starting to get excited about this, like my whole family would be doing this, there's no way I would have believed this. Yet I know our marriage and our family has taken a step up in our relationship and our connection and our love because we're doing this.
Yeah, I feel like,
I feel way better. Do you feel way better?
I feel lighter. I don't know how to describe it.
I feel a lot lighter.
I feel alive.
Seriously, right? I do.
No,
I do. I feel very much a lot lighter.
I've always been very like goal driven, and like I feel like I'm very much like connected, I would say.
Yeah.
But I was connected, but I felt like something was missing, and I was starting. The only way I can describe it is I was starting to feel worldly and heavy, and to me, I was like, I think I need more light. And I know this isn't like a religious podcast or whatever, but I need more God in my life. I need something. I need more light. And so I kind of was like, I need a pattern interrupt. And we started going to church, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And every week I'm like, oh, this is really good. So
to the point that you went when I wasn't even here.
I know. I was
and
like,
I
got
went,
the kids
you weren't
and
even
went,
here.
and yeah, so it's been
Right?
good. So I don't know. I think you kind of have to like listen to, you got to like listen to your, I call it my higher voice.
Well, here's the reality. Look at the timing. We'd moved into the new, Warrior DKW Castle, and we were excited to be in our new home.
I honestly, with that house, I swear, like it wasn't like a small leap. It was a pretty big leap for us. And I thought that with the last house, and then this one is like an even bigger leap. And it went so smoothly. And we just recently, like even we bought it with owning two homes.
Two homes at once.
And I was like, oh my God. And then our last house just sold, and everything has been like just puzzles clicking. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, okay, God, I'll be your messenger. What do you want me to do? And so I feel like it's like, Danielle, you are given this because I know how powerful you are. I know how powerful Garrett are. I know how powerful you guys can be as a unit. And so I feel like I'm being rewarded for listening, and I'm like, cool. I'll be your beacon. I'll be your voice. I'll continue to live my purpose and do what I know I can do. And to me, I'm like, I look at it as like, well, I think we are probably a very powerful couple, and things are aligning to really to just continue to do what we do.
I think what's aligning is that you and I are aligning with God. Like there's a power, like we've always both been connected, and we've had our experiences with it, but there's a deliberate and conscious effort that we are seeing immediate response from like life and the universe and like God.
I feel a softness. I literally
definitely
feel a softness. And like I said, I was starting to feel
hard
and
calloused,
worldly and worn a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's so weird, even like down to like, I've noticed even my language is kind of softening a little bit.
Me too.
And yeah, and I'm like, okay, like it's weird. It's not weird. It's cool.
I had a weird experience. I was sitting in the training room and I was like writing email copy on the iPad, which I'm going to read some of it here in a second.
I was like, what you got on your notes there?
And I looked up the word "do the fucking work." You know, I like this statement, but I'm like, do we need "do the fucking work" on the wall? And I was like, what is happening to me? So here's I'm going to read you something that's part of my General's tent message, and then we'll kind of wrap up today's show. So the title of this is, so this goes out every weekend and to my student base inside of Wake Up Warrior. If you're interested in that, if you haven't figured that out or hadn't participated, I encourage you to go check it out, wakeupwarriorchallenge.com, which is the entry point to Wake Up Warrior. Great place. Massive opportunities we have right now with Warrior inside and outside of the challenge to be able to empower men and women with the tools to be able to find themselves, but also how to find each other, and ultimately how to explode your life in what we call having it all across body, being, balance, and business. So if that's you, you're stuck, or you just want it more, check it out, wakeupwarriorchallenge.com. So I'm going to read part of this. Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, subject line is, are you willing to submit? Now, I'm writing this, at the time I'm recording this show, it's actually the day before Easter, 2 days before Easter, but I'm writing it as if it's that morning because I already know what's going on. So here we go. My house is full of Christians this morning. My in-laws, my brother-in-laws, my sister-in-laws, my nieces, my nephews. But for me, am I a Christian? In 2009, I left the Mormon church, not because the religion was wrong or broken, but because I felt the voice inside of me calling me to take on a journey of awakening. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. For regular non-denominational churches, leaving the church is not an issue. But leaving a very intense orthodoxy is painful because everything about your life is interwoven into and around the church. Your business, your family, your friends, your clients, your life. So when I stepped away from the religion I was raised in, I stepped away from a Sunday routine, yes, but it was even more. I was forced to commit identity suicide, to choose to cast myself out of the tribe. Everyone turned on us, everyone except the still voice within me, and that was the trigger to leave in the first place. I had no idea what I was doing or where it would take me, but I trusted, I submitted, I listened, I followed the voice. For the next 2 years, I would do everything and anything I could to distance myself from the label of Mormon. I wanted to find myself beyond the label, but it didn't stop there. I continued to distance myself from the label of Christian. I continued to distance myself from the label of churchgoer. I continued to distance myself from anyone and everyone that would try to put me into a box with a label. So standing here on Easter morning, I'm asking myself a question. Am I a Christian? Now, I'm going to fast forward to the very, very end of this. This email goes for a bit, but I'm going to share this last piece. When I walked away, there's a whole bunch I skipped, but here we go. When I walked away from the Mormon church, I walked away from the labels of Mormon, Christian, and religion and wrapped Christ up into a simple word, the voice. But now it is evident to me that the voice is and has been for me the entire time. For the last 12 years, I have been forged as a king in Christ. I had no idea it was happening. I could not have planned it, but what I can tell you on this Easter Sunday, as my kids get their favorite dress on and my wife and her sister do the same, I'm sitting here typing this to you with one simple truth in my heart. The truth I have submitted to, with no exception, Christ is king. I am a king in Christ, and he lives. It's kind of emotional for me to share that.
I think it's because you've gotten to a place where you're accepting Christ back into your life.
Yeah.
And it is hard being raised in a very strict, like I would say, like Catholics, Mormons, like that Orthodox religion. It's hard. It's an identity. It's not just like, hey, let's get up and go to church. Like when you walk away, like, and I've shared this on other podcasts, like in the Mormon world, like if you walk away, like you don't go to the highest kingdom in heaven. Like you don't get to be with your family. You go to hell
forever.
You don't go to hell, but like the Mormon world believes in like there's kingdoms to heaven. And if you walk away from the religion, then you don't get to be with your family and your friends and everybody that's going to the highest kingdom. And I was like, just in my gut, I'm like, I don't believe if you're doing that checklist that's actually going to get you to the highest kingdom. I don't. And I was like, I can't submit to that. And so then I think we kind of like took a 180 and we were kind of very like anti.
We were anti.
I agree,
even
anti
to the point religion, anti-church.
Yeah, because we were like, don't put us. I was like, I was like, don't put me in a box. Like you can't put me in a box. But as strange as that sounds, I always felt very in tune, right?
Yeah,
like,
me too.
And I trusted myself, and that's why I'm always like, I call her my higher self. And I genuinely still believe that at some level, it's like literally my higher consciousness that's like kind of helping guide me. You know what I mean? But it's just crazy. I feel like we're at this place where it was like, it was time. You know what I mean? It was like, okay.
I do. I feel it. It's just like, I mean, it's taken me 18 months through stacking. I mean, I have hundreds of stacks that allude to this, just a slow chipping away. But I never imagined it. Did you know that I'm committing to be baptized? But I don't know when, and it's not going to be like a formal.
Do that, huh?
Yeah, but it's going to be my own thing. I'm not going to do it on church at the parking lot in a swimming pool.
That'd be weird.
Like, I'm either going to do it, I think I'm going to do it twice.
I think you're going to do it in the ocean.
I am. Once in the ocean and once in the mountains, in the lake. And I already had the people I've selected to do it.
I'm sure you do. I'm not there yet.
You don't have to be. I don't need you to be there. I just know that I got there. I didn't know I was going to be there. If you'd asked me 3 months ago, would I be here? I was like, no. If you'd asked me 3 months ago, I'd be saying this? No. If you asked me 3 months ago if I'd be ending with prayer at the end of all of our trainings on Tuesdays.
You do?
Every single time. And guess who else does? Our young men, Parker and Sammy, who run our teen program. They all end with prayer together too, and the kids say it's amazing. Some people don't like it. I'm like, listen, if you don't like it,
people don't like it if it feels gaudy or religion-ishy.
And I get that because I was the guy that was like, don't bring that shit up in my world.
Yeah, I get it.
I hated it. So isn't that crazy? I became the thing I hated. Wow, that's all right. Welcome to Date Your Wife. We're out of here. Hopefully you're healthy and having a great week. Hope you enjoy your Easter weekend. And if you're listening to this after the Easter weekend, hope you have a great time. Regardless of what you did, you can check out more and learn more at wakeupwarriorchallenge.com. If you want to follow more of Danielle, you can always hit her up on Instagram, IG, on the old IG with the handle Danielle K. White, or you can check her out at dkwstyling.com. That's all we got for you this week. We'll see you guys next week. We're out.